Hi there, it's Nick Garner here for 90 Digital, and today I'm just doing a very quick sweep through our client planning template, and I just want to explain how all these bits and pieces work so that you can do what you want to do with them. Now, the first thing is we have the consultancy sheet, and what we've done is we've broken everything down into things that we do across the business, and there's a lot of things here, as you see. And the way we filter and organize it is, for example, let's say we want to do some competitor analysis. So I've got a bunch of notes here, nice. And I might say, for example, that we have a package here, an off-page package, for instance. So I might type 1 because it's 800 quid. And let's say we have an on-page competitor analysis package. So in other words, we're looking through a whole bunch of stuff. I might just put a 1 in there as well. Now, if you notice, there's an X here. So you'll see where this comes in later. Now, this one is not an £800 service, so we'll call that a 400 for the sake of argument. Now, what's important is I have a little X in here for anything that I want to flag up for later. So let's say month 2, we've 400. Oops. So month 2, 400. We'll make that 400 instead of 800. Could be 800, whatever. But the point is the numbers go in. And let's say for the sake of argument, we have an on-site audit and we do a whole package. So that would be nice. And let's call it 800 quid again. But we also want to do something extra around, say, an off-site competition audit. That's a good one. So month 1, we decide not to. Month 2, let's put 1 in there, and we don't have a figure for that because there's quite a lot of other variables here. So let's, for the sake of argument, say that's £600. There you go, like that. Okay, so you get the idea. So what we can do is we can plan our whole project with you month by month. And one of the cool things about these templates is that they have really good revision history. So we can look at the whole history of the see revision history here. And we can see all the different changes that have been going on. So it means that if someone breaks something or something silly happens, then we can go straight in there and just pull out what was changed last. When we want to filter this, what I do is I take out the blanks. Oops, sorry, I've did something wrong here. Oops, sorry, let me just do that again. Just re-include those blanks, and our filter is actually for here. So we've got a total, so let's just do that, do that. And because it's Google Docs, there are slightly primitive things, but the upside is that you get the benefit of sharing. So in other words, we can do completely collaborative work, and you can work on the same document as me right now, which works really well. Okay, so let me just do that again with the blanks. There you go. And then that has all of the services that we're offering in our package to you. The next one is this, and this is the budget, the link plan estimator. The way this one works is we estimate, for example, in our analysis that maybe we need to get 240 domains over a year for you. And within that, we can say, for example, that we're going to concentrate on reasonably good domains. So we have these bands here, which are based on TrustFlow, Majestic TrustFlow. So to give you some idea of what they're all about, if we have 1 to 10, for example, they're usually pretty low-level sites. 11 to 20, they're reasonably okay. They're like, they've got a little bit of history and maybe rank for one phrase or something like that. 21 to 30, they're actually reasonably solid sites, and they've been around a while. They rank for a bunch of things, or quite a few things, we would hope. 31 to 40, they become quite strong, and really 40 above, they become much stronger. And depending on the industry, that really determines the trust flow for the site to some extent. So for example, in areas like tech or whatever, you get a lot more links and a lot more trust. Therefore, quite often you're going to see average sites being, say, 3140, whereas in iGaming there might be 2130. So all things are relative, and for that reason we have a pricing model that accounts for that. But I'll talk about that in a minute. The next thing is that we make a decision about weighting. So the weightings are based on these figures here. What I've done is I've gone through all of these big editorially driven sites, the sort of sites that people would naturally want to link to. And using Majestic Data, I've come up with a spectrum, link quality spectrum, that I figure is a very good one to just work with, as it were. And therefore that's our spectrum that we benchmark off. So when I say, for example, 100% at this band, what I'm saying is for this quality of link, say 21 to 30, we're going to do the equivalent number. So we're going to do proportionately the number, we're going to acquire, proportionally speaking, the number of links for 2130 over versus, say, 3140 or 4150, if that makes any sense. In other words, you'd have 11, 7 and 4, which basically correlates here. So you have a medium-sized bar, a taller bar, medium-sized, smaller. So that's how I do the numbers there. And then I round everything up 1 so that we have round numbers, because otherwise it becomes point something or other. The next thing is on the campaign. So for example, typically on a project, we'd like to start small and maybe go 50, 70, 90, 100 like that, or maybe 100 like that. This chart here then just changes to that. So you can get a sense of how we build into it. What this does is it all equalizes out. So it gives more of a weighting of domains on this end and fewer at this end. So that's that piece. The next thing, which goes back into the pricing of links, is that we've assumed the average trust flow is somewhere in the middle between 21 and 30. So in other words, we pick a number like, say, 25, trust flow 25, and we have a multiple here. And the multiple will vary dependent on the circumstances and the industry and all this kind of thing. So for iGaming, for example, we would typically go for a higher multiple. But again, it's all based on how easy it is to get a link placement. So for example, if we were doing online casino, our multiples would be higher than they would be if they were for fashion, because it's easier to get a better link on a higher quality site in fashion, but then there are lots more links that are high quality and good in fashion, therefore everything kind of equalizes itself out. But anyway, we have the way it works, it's really simple. We have the average trust flow for that band, in this case 25, and we multiply it by whatever the multiple is. Now you may notice here that I've made the average trust flow 16, and that's because generally when we're looking, if we get links in that band, we want to get higher level links. And also I kind of want to dissuade you from going for these links anyway, because I just don't think they're really good value. And this is why the multiples are typically higher on the lower ones, because typically it takes just as much work to get a 11 to 20 than it does, say, a 2130 or 3140 almost. When we get above, just I digress slightly, but when we get above, say, 40 in iGaming or above 50 in non-iGaming, then really you're into the whole thing of, is it editorially justified? Because they become much more picky about what kind of content they take and so on. And this is an important point, and what tends to happen therefore is that the higher the multiples you go, i.e. 75, etc., really it's not so much whether it's a great domain or whatever the hell. It's more like it's just editorially justifiable, and money does not talk. It's the quality of editorial, and in many respects that's why these higher links are so valuable and worthwhile getting. These are based on subdomain value. Now there are certain subdomains like Reddit, for example, which have extremely high trust flows, but in that case we wouldn't go off the main www.reddit.com. We'd probably in that case, we'd go off the subreddit, for example, or the metrics for a /r/subreddit that you're in, for example, or whatever. These things are open to closer definition depending on the circumstances. Anyhow, just on to the pricing. So there we have price per link, and then we have the table here, and you can see here that we are looking at, take this one here, month 12, which relates to this. So the total for that lot of links would be, say, or the lot of placements would be 3,850, and so on, and then you get a total. And then we have an average as well for which, and that's broken, which I have to fix. But then oops, that's why. And then you have averages there. So the main idea is it's very easy for us to calculate link costs and so on, and it makes it much more agile for us to work with you on these kind of things. All right, thank you very much.